watching Pouring the Tea with Masse.
Well, hello there.
Hey guys.
And I'm Lee.
I'm Jeremy.
And this is Pouring the Tea with Masse.
It sure is.
It sure is. Thank you for being here. What are we going to talk about in today's episode? Well, I think this is a fun one.
It is going to be a fun one.
And actually, I didn't really know a lot of the answers to some of the things that we're going to talk about until I actually just went and researched it. And we've been painting for almost 2 years.
Yeah, I was very surprised at some of the things that I read.
Me too. What we're going to talk about is the difference between artists' and students' paints. We're going to talk to you a little bit about what transparency and opacity, what things like hue and viscosity mean.
Yeah.
And hopefully all this is going to help you have a little bit more information to be able to go out there and buy the right paints for yourself. Then we'll talk a little bit about pouring mediums.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the pros and cons of a few of the most popular ones that we know that you guys have all been using. And then we'll wrap it all up with some kind of fun facts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoyed researching this one for you guys because it definitely opened my eyes to a few things.
It was a good read and a lot of information that I didn't really know.
Or consider.
Or I thought it meant something totally different.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, so we've both learned a little from this episode. Now, before we get into all of that, I do want to just remind you all that bookings for the Fluid Art Experience are now open.
They are.
And I don't mind telling you that we have 600 classes available, and as of today, which is just 5 days after tickets were released, we've sold 100.
Wow.
It's actually 102 as of the 2nd. So we are definitely heading to a sellout of all the classes. The reason why I'm telling you this is because if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I'll just book the classes tomorrow, you might want to get ahead of the game and actually go ahead and book.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be classes available for the next few weeks, but some of the artist classes are already getting dangerously close to full.
Yes.
So please, please, please take the time to go and check out the website, fluidartexperience.com.
Yep.
And go and book those classes. And if you've got your classes but haven't got your hotel accommodation, then please follow the venue page on fluidartexperience.com to go book that hotel. Because we have negotiated a really cheap rate for you.
Yes.
Do you know how much it is?
$129, I think.
$129.
Oh my God, the hotel's so nice, you guys.
It's a Renaissance. It's a pretty hotel. It's just been re-renovated. It's just been renovated just before COVID. And not a lot of people have stayed in it. So you guys are gonna have access to a really, really beautiful location too.
Yes.
You'll follow the link to how to get that cheap room rate by going to the venue page on the website.
Yes.
And whilst you're there, guys, if you are booking your classes, don't forget to get all the add-ons as well. We've got the cocktail meet and greet on Thursday.
Yep.
The gala dinner on Friday.
Yes.
The rap party on Saturday.
Yep.
Then you've got the inspiring art performance by Cole on Friday as well. And then that demo we've got on Thursday. So you also can go and select some of the free add-ons and some of the paid add-ons there if you so wish.
Yes.
But who are you going to be able to see at the Fluid Art Experience show, Pony?
Oh my gosh, there's going to be Marcy, who is Mixed Media Girl. There's going to be Kathleen from Cause Creations. There's going to be Tara from Pieces of Terra Artistry. There's going to be Garrick from Garrick Brown Studios, right? And there's going to be Sarah Taylor for Sarah Taylor's Modern Art, and then us.
That's it. Well done, Show Pony. Congratulations. 6 artists all pouring for your pleasure, teaching and basically giving you the tips and tricks that we've learned over the years that we've been doing this.
Yes.
So hopefully you'll see it as a really awesome but super valuable opportunity to come and spend some time with us and get some questions answered.
Yeah.
All right. Without much further ado, that has been done. Let's get into this.
All right.
All right, sir. So, before we did this, did you really know what the difference between level 1, level 2, and kind of the heavy body or level 3 were?
I really didn't. I just thought they were thicker, or the color was better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that's unfair as a general assumption, but let's delve into this in a little bit more detail.
Okay.
All right. So let's take the student colors first, or the student levels. Now, the student levels of paint are generally thought out to be level 1 and level 2.
Yes.
Okay, so they're the 2 levels of paint. Now, when you buy your tube paints from the stores that you get them from, you'll see that there is a level on there. If it says level 1, level 2, then it's a student paint. If it says heavy body, or level 3, then it's considered an artist or
Yes.
professional paint.
Yes.
So those level 1s and those level 2s they're usually cheaper.
Yeah.
They don't have all the same colors that you can get in the level
No.
3s and the heavy body paints.
No.
They definitely have a lower pigment level.
Yes. Absolutely.
And
they
the
do.
reason for that is because there are additives that are mixed in with the actual tube paints that do dilute them.
Yes.
So they're not as heavily pigmented. They do have fillers in there that actually do weaken the paint colors.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're also then, by proxy, less vibrant when they dry.
Exactly.
So, however, very inexpensive. They are paints, if you are a beginner or even an intermediate painter, you might want to use on a regular basis because actually they're still good paints.
Yes, they are good paints.
They are good paints. They're going to be thinner. They're going to be looser than a heavy body paint.
Exactly.
So it's just something to think about when you do mix it with pouring mediums, which we'll get to in a little bit. But absolutely, we are not disparaging those student type paints because
Not at
we
all.
still use them.
Oh yeah, we use a lot of like level 1 and level 2 paints still.
We absolutely do. You've
Yeah.
just got to be aware of all those things when you use them,
Yeah.
because that might change how you use them.
Exactly.
All right, so that's the artist level paints. Sorry, that was the student level paints. What about the artist and the professional level paints? What would you say then in comparison?
Well, they're more of like it's a varied price range actually, but they're usually more expensive, and that's because the quality of the materials that go into the paint are just better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They are definitely then thicker.
They are thicker.
They're more buttery.
Yes.
They're considered to have a higher concentration of pigment.
Yes.
So the reason why they are more expensive is because there's more raw pigment product in
Yes.
there too. There's always more colors to choose from when it comes to those artist level paints.
Yep.
And like you said, they're definitely more expensive. Now, one of the things that you'll see on those heavy body paints, specifically from places like Golden, for example,
Yeah.
is it'll talk about series. It'll say series 1 all the way through to series 7.
Yes.
Do you know what that refers to?
I do. Series 1 through series, I think 7, is the raw materials that are used in the paints.
Absolutely.
So, like, let's say you have ochre, which is a rock.
Right.
You know, so there's more of that available, so to make that color.
Absolutely.
Versus something like alizarin hue.
Easy for you to say. Alizarin.
Alizarin.
Yeah, alizarin
hue.
crimson.
Yeah, crimson.
Well, not the hue.
Not the hue.
Not
Yeah,
the hue.
hue's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the alizarin,
That one.
yes, crimson, is a lot rarer.
Right.
And so, you know, to get that, that makes it more expensive.
That would be a 7 on the scale.
Yeah.
So the easier that the product is, it's lower on the scale and therefore cheaper. The harder it is for that pigment to be mined or sought means it's then higher up on the scale.
Exactly.
Now, people always used to say to us when we would use golden paints on the channel all the time, gosh, they're so expensive, I can't afford them. And they absolutely are more expensive than other paints.
Yeah.
However, the real important thing to mention is because they're highly pigmented and because they're thicker, you use less of them.
Exactly.
So when we talk about our mixing recipe, which is a video that we've currently got sitting on the channel, that is mixed with level 2 paints. If you mixed the same recipe with a level 3, you would use less of the product.
Yes.
So that jar or that tub or that tube that you've got will go further.
Yeah.
By volume that you can create, they're actually not really that much more expensive.
Exactly.
And when you think about then the quality of the product that goes into those heavy bodies, they're definitely, for some of you, if budget will allow, definitely something that you should consider investing in because you will get a better product as an end result.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the high level differences between
Yes.
level 1, level 2, which is the student levels, and then the heavy body or the level 3, which is considered the artist level paints.
Exactly.
All right, so next to permanence.
Yes, permanence.
Permanence. Do you know what permanence is? Did you know what permanence was?
You know what? I knew what it was, I just
Right.
didn't know the name of it.
Guess it for me. What would you think it is?
Permanence?
Yeah.
It's how permanent the paint stays on the canvas.
I mean, it is what it is, right? Permanence is also kind of considered lightfastness.
Yes.
So basically permanence, when you see this or you'll read it on your tubes, refers to how permanent that color is once the paint is dried.
Yes.
So if if you put that paint in direct sunlight, how much that color is going to be affected by the light.
How much it'll fade.
Exactly that. So listen, is it something that we'll consider every single day whenever we're painting a piece of art? No. Because it's not one of those things that you really kind of think about, like, what's this piece of art going to look like in 50 years time? It's very different to archival, which we'll talk about shortly. But yeah, permanence is something that you should consider. It's going to be just how long those colors will last on that canvas over the years if someone were to have it in direct sunlight.
Exactly.
So that's permanence.
Nice.
Next to viscosity. And if something is viscose or not. Okay, so viscosity, show pony.
Yes.
Talk to me what you think about viscosity.
Well, viscosity, I think, like, is going to be how runny the paint is.
Absolutely.
It's going to be, you know, if it's viscose or not.
Exactly that. Viscosity of your paint basically refers to consistency or thickness.
Yes.
Okay, so fluid paints, which is something that we've not talked about up until this point. Goldens, for example, have a range of fluid paints. There are other ranges of fluid paints out there. Fluid paints are more viscose.
They are.
However, they're not less pigmented.
The Goldens ones aren't.
They're not.
Yes.
Fluid acrylic paints are not less pigmented than, say, for example, a heavy body. It's just thinner. A fluid paint doesn't mean that it is less of a lesser quality. However, if you've got a level 1, level 2, level 3, they are different viscosity levels. Level 1 is definitely thinner.
Yes.
Level 2 a lot more thicker. Level 3 is going to be even
The
thicker.
thickest, yeah.
So if you were using these paints for brushwork, a level 1 would maybe be a good choice if you were looking for colours to combine easier.
Yes.
Whereas the level 2 and the level 3 won't blend quite so easily.
Yeah.
For us in fluid art, we kind of want most of the time our colours not to do exactly that.
Exactly.
We want to pour our paints out of our pots and have those colours still crisp and fresh, which is why we tend to use a lot of the heavy bodies and the kind of level 3 paints.
Yeah.
But viscosity is definitely something to think about when you think about consistency of your paints.
Yes.
If you're going to mix different levels of paint with pouring mediums and use them in the same technique, you have to match that viscosity to each and every one of those colors.
Exactly.
So if you're going to use a level 1 and you're going to use a heavy body, even if you use the same pouring medium, those will be different. Now, it's very hard to make a thick paint thin. It's a little more difficult to make a thin paint thick.
Yeah.
So just think about that as you're choosing the viscosity of your paints when you're putting them together in one pour.
Yeah, it's like whenever you're doing a ring pour, if you don't get your paints like pretty much exactly the same consistency, you'll get jagged lines, and when they're stretching it out, instead of like nice, smooth, like stretched out circles, when you get those jagged lines, that means that your consistencies between your paints were not the same.
Something's slipping.
Exactly.
Exactly. So there you go. Viscosity is definitely something to think about as you think about your technique.
Yeah.
And we talk about consistency being key. It's probably 70-ish% of the reason why a piece may be a fail or a success.
Yes.
So definitely think about that as you're choosing paints to put them together for a pour.
Yes.
So next, to Hue.
Hue.
Not my friend Hugh. Hello, Hugh, if you're watching. But what does hue mean in terms of acrylic painting, Show Pony?
Hue in acrylic painting actually just means that the paint color is not real.
Okay.
It's actually, it's a hue of it. So they take other different colors to combine them to make it or get it as close as they can as that color.
Okay. This is one I didn't know.
Yeah, hue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought hue just meant kind of like something like vibrancy or like, you know, the shade of.
Got it.
I didn't realize that hue meant that different pigments have been mixed together to get this color to look like the color it is. So hues can sometimes be less expensive as a traditional whatever the color may be. So for example, I know a cadmium red hue.
Exactly.
Or there are other colours that are trying to mimic old-fashioned colours, and they'll be hues. Well, those are made-up colours. They're basically pigments that are mixed together, and therefore they are usually a little bit inexpensive.
Yes.
Right? So next, to something called opaque and transparent.
Yes.
Now this is something that I feel like as artists we don't take as much attention to as we really should.
Yeah.
Some of the times we'll just pick up a colour off the table and think, oh, that looks really great, and mix it with a ton of other colours. But what we really should be looking at is the opaqueness and the transparency-ness of those colours.
Which Lee says to me all the time whenever I start mixing pearl on pearl.
Pearl on pearl, or metallic on metallic. Absolutely. Those pearls and those metallics are definitely either semi-transparent or transparent colours. But Choponi, tell me then what the 4 categories of opacity are.
Yes, there is transparent.
Okay.
There's semi-transparent.
Okay.
There's semi-opaque.
Right. And
then there's opaque.
Okay. And in my head again, I think I always used to get this wrong, because opaque to me sounds like it should be see-through.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But it's not.
It's not.
Okay, so if a colour is opaque, what that means is, and it usually is, something from the earth.
Yes.
You mentioned ochre before, and this is a really good example.
Yeah.
So ochre is that crushed rock. So you crush up rocks to get the colour brown.
Yes.
Ochre. Well, that is an opaque paint. You basically can't see through it. And it kind of makes sense because it's rock, right? Whereas pigments from things like dyes or man-made pigments then tend to be more transparent.
Yes.
Because you can see through them. So you have that grading chart from opaque to transparent with the 2 semis in the middle.
Exactly.
And those will be absolutely either written on your tubes of acrylic paint, or there'll be a little diagram, right?
Yes.
I think, is it Arteza that have a square with like a half slash in it? I think it's Arteza.
I think it's Arteza too.
One of the brands it'll either be an open box if it's completely transparent, it'll be a coloured in box if it's completely opaque, and if it's half and half, then it's basically half and half.
Yes.
Semi-transparent or semi-opaque, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, Choponi, we need to start taking a little bit more attention, paying more attention
Absolutely.
to those opaques and those transparent colours in the future.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to keep shouting at you when you do pearls on pearls.
All right, I can do this one to this one now.
You can do.
All right, let's talk about binders.
Okay.
Now, yeah, so Winsor & Newton, they have a clear binder, and what that means is that it keeps your paint from color shifting a lot. And what color shift is that whenever your paint dries, it dries. Have you ever had a paint that you put on the canvas and you're like, oh my God, this is such a beautiful shade of red, and then you come back to it when it's dry and it's like burgundy.
Right.
So that's what color shift is.
Got it. And I guess actually this is going to lead us into a conversation about pouring mediums, but if you add a pouring medium to a colour and it changes the colour in the pot, these are the ones where you might notice, and then as it dries, it will go darker, because the white pouring medium that turns transparent then is going to just allow the colours from the pigment to come through.
Exactly.
So Payne's grey is one of them. If you mix it with too much Floetrol, for example, it'll look more grey in the pot, but as it dries darker.
It dries darker, yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that leads us really nicely into, in fact, pouring mediums.
Yes.
So fluid artists like ourselves will use pouring mediums because what we absolutely need to do is to make that acrylic paint more fluid.
Yes.
We can't just use acrylic paints out of the tubes or the bottles because it doesn't flow. So a pouring medium is a necessity in our world, and it's basically an additive that we're going to use with the acrylic paint to make it flow more easily.
Exactly.
Okay. So things that are pouring mediums are diluting agents, and they have binders, and the things that we're looking for and we want to have happen are things that will dry without any cracking or crazing, separating, or any flaking. Those things are the things that we don't want to have happen. But that pouring medium basically makes your paint easier to use in fluid art.
Yes.
So what do you think is the cheapest pouring medium that there is out there?
Water.
Exactly. All right. So there are people that will just mix water with their acrylic paint. It is absolutely a tried and tested method to make your paints more fluid.
Yes.
You just add water to them. But there are some disadvantages to the pros of it being inexpensive. So the disadvantage of using water are that the water does dilute the paint, clearly. But it dilutes potentially the colour and the vibrancy of the paint also.
It does.
Water can't completely bind with the acrylic paint.
No,
it's
it
not
doesn't.
possible. So what you may find if you use a lot of it is that your surface will be uneven because there's going to be different kind of, textures within your paint. And if you use too much water and your paint dries, it can flake.
It can.
It can actually flake off.
It won't hold it to the canvas.
It won't hold it to a canvas. So whilst it is an inexpensive pouring medium, because you just get it from the tap, the things you need to consider are that you might not get the same colour even when it dries.
Yes.
And you definitely will lose some of the vibrancy. And then clearly you've got the opportunity for it to flake.
Yeah.
So please know and use a pouring medium in relation to your budget. But just know what some of the side effects of these pouring mediums
Exactly.
can be. So then let's talk about some of the best and the most popular pouring mediums.
Sure.
Okay, and I'm going to talk specifically about some of the ones that we've used an awful lot.
Yeah.
Because pretty much every paint brand out there has its own brand of pouring medium.
Yep.
Okay, so tell me one that you know.
Well, GAC 800.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is absolutely a pouring medium.
It is.
And what do people use it for mainly?
To keep your paint from cracking or crazing.
Right.
And that kind of thing. It's really good for that.
It is absolutely good for that, and people will generally use it and add it to other recipes of pouring mediums. But you can actually just use GAC 800 on its own. If you did that, it would be kind of expensive.
Yeah.
So what we normally do is just add a couple of tablespoons of it to a pouring recipe that includes other things.
Exactly.
But GAC 800 is definitely a really good example of a pouring medium. One of the ones that I know that you will know of most often, and you hear probably most of us talk about, is Floetrol.
Floetrol.
Now, it is not a pouring medium. Floetrol is a paint conditioner. Floetrol was made for people who are commercial house painters, because what Floetrol does is keeps the paint fluid enough so that you can use it in things like spraying machines.
Yes.
And it helps you create a really even surface as you spray this onto your walls. Someone then realized that we can use it to help get our paint into a nice flow, a nice consistency, but also it extends the volume of our paint. So a 2-ounce tube of paint can be turned into
20 ounce.
Maybe not 20 ounces, but at least 8 ounces of paint to use in a pour. So for us, a gallon worth of Floetrol, which is normally around $14, $15, $16, will turn that very expensive acrylic paint into a less expensive paint if you think of it by volume.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
It is white, so will change the colour of your paint in the pot, but as it dries and it dries transparent, then it should have less effect on the overall colour that you're trying to achieve.
Yes.
Another pouring medium that people use a lot?
What's that?
Glue.
Yeah.
PVA glue. So there are a lot of artists out there that will just mix their acrylic paints with glue or glue and water kind of mixtures. Glue is equally inexpensive. It's not as expensive as some of the branded pouring mediums, for example. But PVA glue is not pH neutral.
Exactly.
So one of the things you've got to think about when you think about using PVA glue is that it is slightly acidic. Now, do you know what effect will have on your painting?
Yeah, it'll burn through the color.
No.
No?
No, but nice try. It means that it's not archival. Actually, kind of similar to what you were saying. What it means is the color will change or can change over time. Okay, so I see where you're going with the acid and the burning, but we weren't far off. There is, however, a pH neutral glue out there, and it's a bookbinder glue.
It is.
So you can absolutely use that instead if you're worried about the archival properties of your paints and your canvases. But PVA glue is definitely a very inexpensive pouring medium that people will use.
Yes.
So one of the other pouring mediums I'm going to talk about is Liquitex. Because it's one that we use the most.
Yes.
We tend to use in our pouring recipe Liquitex gloss medium, but you can also get Liquitex pouring medium.
Yeah.
We use the gloss because we really like that shine and sheen that you get to your finished pours.
Yeah.
It means for a lot of time you don't have to varnish your resin
Yeah.
because you get a really beautiful sheen in the finished piece.
Exactly.
What we tend to do is 25% gloss medium, 50% Floetrol, and 25% paint.
Yes.
That paint element changes clearly depending on whether you're using a heavy body or a level 2, for example. But Liquitex is definitely a pouring medium that we use, tried and tested, works really well for us.
Yeah.
It's a little expensive, so we use it as a portion of our pouring medium, but definitely a good one to use. Now, there are many.
There are many.
Amsterdam has its own.
Yes.
Sargent's has its own.
Sargent's has a really good one.
Most of the paint brands out there will have their own pouring mediums. That's just a few that we've used and have worked well for us.
Yeah.
So what pouring medium should I use?
That's a great question.
And the answer really is it's up to you.
Yeah.
Listen, you use a pouring medium that is fit for your budget, fit for the project, and one that you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
What I would suggest that you do is play around with your pouring mediums. Play around with different people's recipes. We use 50, 25, 25. That works well for us. But different artists will have different recipes for sure. We don't use GAC 800 as much as a lot of the other artists do.
Yeah.
But try that out as well. Concoct your own recipe, you know, by just playing around with them again, but making sure that these all stick to your budget. So for those who are budget conscious, what I'd suggest you've got is water and clearly PVA glue. For those of you that are out there that are just kind of average budget, then Floetrol is a really, really good pouring medium.
Love me some Floetrol.
We love us some Floetrol. And for those out there of you that would consider yourselves more professional pourers, then maybe you want to start adding things like GAC 800 and the Liquitex pouring mediums or the branded mediums alongside your Floetrol.
Yes.
But please just do what's ever right for you. My advice, do as much research and as much experimenting as you can.
Exactly.
So, in summary, pouring mediums. Okay, so we need pouring mediums because we need that fluid dynamics.
Exactly.
Yeah, we've got to have
Need it to
pouring
flow.
mediums for it to flow. Exactly that. The pouring mediums will bind to the paint. What you want is you don't want any separation, you don't want any weakness, you don't want any changing of the colors.
The further that your paints don't bind, they separate. The further they go apart, the more you're going to lose your color. So having that binder in there keeps them close, and so you get that more intense color.
That's when you get your cracking and your crazing, which are things that none of us want when we've got a beautiful composition in front of us. Another thing we didn't talk about is that pouring mediums extend the drying time. So when you put a pouring medium into your acrylic paint, it just makes it easier for you to work with because you've got longer for that actually to dry.
Yes.
And clearly they are more cost effective because what they're gonna do is extend the volume of your product. That 2 ounce of paint can become 8 ounces in terms of volume because you're gonna add a pouring medium to it. Now, just a very quick last note on pouring mediums. Do make sure you're following all the instructions on any of those pouring mediums because they'll have recommended ratios. GAC 800, for example, can be 10 to 1 in terms of paint to pouring medium. We find that Floetrol, we kind of do 2 to 3 to 1. There are other mediums out there that will give you more volume, but do follow those manufactured recommended guidelines.
Yes. So, in other news, yes, scientists have recently discovered a food that greatly reduces sex drive. Did you know this?
It's probably onion or garlic, is it?
No, it's called a wedding cake.
That's different. I haven't heard that one before. That was awesome. Do you have other news?
I do.
Okay.
We're going to go into the showcase shout out.
The showcase shout out.
Yes.
Okay, let me tell everyone what the showcase shout out is.
Sure.
So if you haven't been here with us before, we follow about 265 now people on YouTube.
Yes.
If you watch us, the likelihood is that we do watch you. And so our showcase shout out is our opportunity to maybe bring someone to the front of your mind that you aren't watching. But it's someone that we've been watching for a while, normally between 1,000 and 10,000 subscribers, someone who could really benefit from having your subscription.
Yes.
So today's showcase shout out is, drum roll please,
Acrylic pouring with Julie E.
me Julie.
Yes.
All right, well tell me why.
Well, she is so sweet, first of all.
Okay.
Yes. But she has 1,900 subscribers right now.
Wow, so hang on a second, so she's about, I think about 120 away from 2,000.
Yes.
Which is fantastic.
Yes. She has 160 videos out, so there's a lot of content for you to watch.
Wow, that is a lot of content.
It is.
Because I know that Julie hasn't been pouring for like years and years and years. So 160 videos is someone who's serious about putting content out.
Absolutely. She also does pearls, Dutch pours. She does resin.
She paints with a brush.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, Julie is technique agnostic. She's a generalist for sure.
Yes.
But what I can absolutely say about Julie is that her painting journey is so evident if you look at where she started and where she's coming.
Oh yeah.
She's putting up some beautiful pieces of art. Julie, I think when she first started her channel was kind of just doing things for the fun of it.
Yes.
And I think that was probably because she didn't even have confidence in her own abilities to throw out really great pieces of art. But over time, you can see that she's absolutely become more confident.
Oh yeah.
And some of her pieces now are like fantastic. Beautiful, beautiful artwork. So I'm going to ask you guys to go follow Acrylic Painting by Julie E.
Yes.
Because she's really awesome, and she's absolutely someone that if you are a generalist and you kind of just want to see someone tackle all sorts of different mediums and techniques, she's someone to watch.
Yeah, she is.
So there you have it, Show Pony.
There you have it.
Another episode of Pouring the Tea with Masse.
Yes.
In the can. We hope that you've enjoyed this. I'm going to tell you, we definitely learned some stuff along the way.
We did.
This was really interesting for us to research to be able to tell you all this information. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing.
Yeah.
Please like. Feel free to comment. You can even share this episode to your social medias. And please hit that notification bell, because then you'll be notified of when we're going to be pouring out this content for you. Speaking of content, what are we doing on Sunday?
Sunday we're doing a huge canvas, you guys. We're doing a 36 by 36 commission piece.
Canvas. Yeah. We've been given a photograph by one of our clients, and we're not going to represent that photograph. We're not going to replicate that photograph entirely. We're using it as inspiration.
Exactly.
However, we are going to try and match a lot of the colours in there. So we'll talk to you and show you all about this one on Sunday, but it is a beast of a canvas.
It is.
Beast of a canvas for sure. And please remember to go check out fluidartexperience.com for everything that is the Fluid Art Experience, July 21st, 22nd, 23rd, here in Dallas. Pouring with us, Garrick, Pieces of Tara Artistry, Kathleen, Marcy, and Sarah. So a whole team of 6 of us pouring for your pleasure.
It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait.
I can't wait either. So this bear needs to be fed, so I'm going to go make him some dinner. Thank you for being here with us this Friday evening. Have a cocktail for us. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here on Sunday.
See you on Sunday, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
And now to spank the Patreons.
Yes, let's spank the Patreons.
Let's do it. Who are the Patreons? Well, the Masse Posse, we like to call them, are a group of people that have signed up to patreon.com. And on our patronage, you have the opportunity to get levels and perks for different things.
Yes.
So at one level, you might get a sneak peek, behind the scenes video or some footage. At another level, you'll be invited to monthly off the YouTube channel live streams. And at a separate level, you might also get once a month tutorials.
Yes.
So it's a really fun opportunity for people just to have a completely different view of Masse Art Studios. So we have some people to thank.
Yes.
At our gold level, we have Elizabeth Galano, Gillian Kennedy, we have Gloria Saliki and Jane Klein, we have Janice Swansea and Kelly Stowell, we have Kirsten Blackley, we have Linda Seriani, we have Mary Doulis, or Mama Doulis,
Mama Doulis,
Patsy Petrelli and Rebecca Hawes Winters. We have Sharon Luffy and Stephanie Hancock. We've got Tammy Housebrook, we've got Terry Leschner, and we've got Trisha West.
Yes. Then in our platinum level, we have Elaine Burton, Janice Pittman,
And Steve.
We have Susan Chigori and Susan Shepperson.
Susan Shepperson.
Yes.
And at our diamond level,
At our
someone
diamond
you
level.
all know and love,
Yes.
it's
Sparkles.
So thank you so very much to those guys and everyone else that's here down below, our bronze and silver Patreons too. We really appreciate you. We really appreciate you wanting to be here with us and support us through this wonderful journey of art. Honestly, we really can't thank you enough, so thank you so very much.